Welcome everybody back to my channel. So today we're going to continue on the C++ programming videos. So we're going to look at the string and the char variables. So these are very important, but what is the char variable? The char variable, it's a variable that can hold a single character or letter, such as A or B, or it can hold different characters from the ASCII table, and as well as these variables can only store a single character. It cannot hold any more than that. So the single quotes are very important if we need to either reference or declare these variables when they're being inputted. An example could be, we have not learned this, but this is part of a if statement. Let's say we have an if statement, and let's say our variable that we want, that we're asking from the user is, let's say let's say letter. Let's say our variable is letter, and we're trying to equal it to w, and it has some values in there. So this is just an example for now. What it's saying here, so if the letter, if whatever we inputted into this letter is equal to w, then we can execute any of these statements, right? But if our character is something other than w, it will not execute these statements. So this is just an example of using single quotes to reference a character or letter. So it allows us to compare the letter or the character in this variable to this. So if these are the same, then it would execute whatever we want in here. But that's for another video. This is just an example of using the single quotes and comparing with other characters. So how do we compare, how do we declare a character? So just like an integer, integers hold integer values. So it's of course type int. And let's call it a. Let's just call this integer a, and let's say it holds the value 9. So in memory, you see that it holds the value 9. So this is a block of memory right here, and this we're referring to it as a, and it holds the value 9. Same thing over here, but difference in concepts. So instead of an integer variable, this is a character value, and we named the variable letter, and it contains the character a. So just like we have here, so we have our block of memory that we've allocated by declaring the character variable. We have the name of it is called letter, and inside this block of memory we have a variable, not a variable, a character of a. And just by the way, these characters have actually integer variables. So not necessarily that a's in this block is actually a value, but just for ease of knowing, I'm just putting a. So this is how we're declaring a into this variable. But it's much better to declare it as nothing, especially when you have this value that's going to keep changing. So we have this letter, right? We're asking the user here to enter a character while the program is running, and then this synth function allows the user, once the program is running, to actually enter a character value. Notice that this is a character variable, so it's going to take a single character value. So what is a string? So a string can hold a sequence of words, sentences, names, anything like that. It could be hello hello world for all we care, right? Hello world can be in there. So all we have to do is we have to do string, which is the variable type, just like char, just like int. And we have to name it something. Let's call this variable x, right? And hello world. So in memory, this x variable holds hello world. But what's very important is we need to use the include string directive when we first begin our program. Just like we use the iOS stream, we need to also include the string directive. And if we want to hard code a sequence of words, variables, sentences, we need to use the double quotes. Remember, in the character, we use single quotes. Right here, we use single quotes. And here we use double quotes. So, string sentence, so type sentence of a type string, is going to hold, this is my first sentence. So, whenever you want to print out this, so if you ever want to print out sentence, right? When you run the program, this is what it's going to print out, not the quotes, of course. It's going to print out, this is my first sentence. But over here, this is when we want the user to input some sort of sentence or not words or anything like that. So we're declaring sentence as a string. We're assigning it no value. We're going to ask the user to enter a sentence, and just in conjunction, just like we use integers, doubles, characters, we're going to ask for the CIN function, and they'll enter whatever they want, and this will be stored in the sentence. So that's pretty straightforward, nothing major, nothing new. So how do we display these char in strings in the cout functions? Just like we do with integers and doubles. So we have our cout function, our operator. If we want to write anything, we can write anything we want. And then we can write the variable. So for example here, I want to say the letter that our variable stores is whatever letter this is. So the letter, and I'm sorry, that our variable stores is A. So if I change this to B, we don't need to change this. Because the letter is going to be updated to B, and that means this is going to be updated to B. So that's why we want to code it like that. We don't just want to say, we don't want to have A in these quotation marks. We want to code it as its variable. Same thing with string. So we have sentence, right? We hard coded hello world. And if we want to use the cout function, we use cout function. If we want to say some things in quotation marks, we can. And then we have our variable. And at the same time, we can always do this. We can always include more. This can be for as long as we want. So let's do an exercise with the char variable and the string variable. I think it's going to be very beneficial for us. So before we actually get started on our practice, this is for sure not our practice, but this is a program that asks for a character value constantly. So I wanted to give you an example. So what this program does, it just asks the user if they want to view monthly sales by making the character M, or if they want to see the yearly summary by making the character Y, or by making the character X to exit the program. This program just pretty much just reads a file, reads a text file, brings it over, and shows it, right? But that's not the point. The point is I want to show you how the character value can be constantly updated. So this is a program execution, right? So it's showing that the monthly sales, and it's giving us a command menu, and it's giving us three options. M will show us to view monthly sales, Y will show us the yearly summary, and X will exit the program. So I can put whatever I want, these three values that are plausible in this program. So let's say I want to press M, right? I have a variable that is taking that character M and comparing it to a variety of if statements and allowing some wild statements to work to show what I want. For example, if I want I want the monthly sales. So I press enter, right? The monthly sales come. What if I want the monthly sales again? It'll show the monthly sales. But what if I want the yearly sales? I use Y. And this will be different. There you go. So you see, if this is how the character variable can help you. It allows to do a wide variety sorts of things to change what you want. It's very common to see these and as commands to do some of these character values. And X is to exit the program. You see, X by. You see, so that's how the character value works. Character variable works. So there's no reason to know this right now, but as you can see, I have a character called command, and then here I'm asking the command, and we are inserting which command that we want, M, Y, and X, and then we're figuring out if it maps to X, M, or Y. So that's what it pretty much does, and I just wanted to show you guys that. So let's get quickly into this programming. Alrighty guys, so this is our program and this is our exercise. So I really do say to try to practice this or try to attempt it before I do. But let's just get started. So our program is asking us, we're going to prompt to enter a first name, and then you're going to store that name in a string. Then we're going to enter a character middle initial, and we're gonna keep that in a character variable. We can obviously have that in a string variable if we want, but for this sake, let's just use that in a character. And then we're gonna have the last name, and we're gonna store that in another string variable. And at the end, we want to display it. Name is John A. Stewart, but this program constantly changes, so we need it to constantly update. So let's get started. So what we want to do is we want to include our iOS stream. And remember, we're using string variables, so we need to include the string directive. We want to have our using namespace. There's nothing new here other than the string directive, but nothing new so far that we haven't seen before. Okay, so what is this program asking us? It's asking us to enter a first name that will be held in one string. Then it's asking us to hold a middle initial that would be held in a character variable. And then we're asked last name, which will also be held in a string. So what we want to declare is two string variables, first and last. And then we're going to declare a character variable for middle. So the string is holding our first name and last name, and our character is holding middle. So what we want to do is we want to pretty much say the first statement, which is enter a first name. And then we complete that with our sin function with our first name. It's going to hold the first string. So we're putting this first name in the first string. Then we're going to ask the second question or statement, which is enter a character middle initial. And this is going to be our char variable, which is middle. Same thing for the next one, except this one is another string. Oops. This one is enter a last name. Let's put these capital. Alright. So this one's obviously going to, this is a sin function. This is obviously going to be held in the last string. Now we want to display it, so we're going to have to put in a cout function to work together. So what we're going to do is we're going to do cout name is space. This is where we have our first name, which is going to be first. Then we want to include a space. This is where we have our middle. Another space. And this is where we have our last. And I'm just going to put end line so it goes to the next line. So let's run this program and see how it looks like. And see if the syntax is correct and everything looks okay. So it's asking us to put a first name. So let's say John A. Stewart. So name is John A. Stewart. Alrighty guys, so this video did go a little bit longer than I wanted to, but I wanted to make sure you guys understood it, and this will not be the last time we see these variables for sure. We're going to do a programming project in the next video focusing on the string function. Alrighty guys, please leave a like, comment, subscribe if you want to see more videos from my C++. Thank you so much.